Hey guys, welcome back to Fix It Friday, the weekly YouTube series where we talk about video game console repairs, mods, and restorations. And this week I'm at a friend's house and we're going to be doing some Game Boy Pocket modding. So if you guys subscribe to the channel, you'll know that in the past I've done a mod to the Game Boy Pocket that takes the original screen and replaces it with a TFT screen. And that's a really nice mod, but there are some downsides to it, one of which is that the screen size goes down a fair amount as a result. So more recently, there has been a new mod that's been released by Funny Playing, and it is using an IPS screen. This is kind of similar to that IPS screen that I've shown before on the Game Boy. And so this screen has the advantage of being the same size as the original, and it's a really nice, bright, vibrant screen. So what we're going to do today is we're going to take apart the Pocket. I'm going to show you guys how to install this new screen and upgrade the video on your Game Boy Pocket. All right, let's get started. All right, so to get started, you're going to need two different types of screwdrivers. You're going to need what's called a tri-wing screwdriver and a Phillips screwdriver. With the tri-wing, you're going to remove 6 screws that are here on the back, and then the back just comes right off. Well, it's supposed to come right off. There we go. Wow, okay. All right, so the back comes off. Much easier than that. And then from there are going to be 3 Phillips screws that are located here. And it's really easy to find them because Nintendo conveniently put a little circle around each of those points on the PCB. So once you have those out, the next step is going to be to disconnect the original screen from the board. And so to do that, you lift up these 2 bails that are here on the left and right side, and you can use your fingernail or a pair of tweezers or something, and then the board just pulls right off like that. So at this point, you're going to take the membranes and buttons and you're going to set them off to the side. And normally the screen actually doesn't just fall out like that, so I kind of want to show you guys what that really looks like normally. Normally the screen is held into place with some kind of adhesive, and so what you can do to dislodge it is kind of move the board back and forth like this, and then with a tool like this, you can just kind of pry it up and remove it. Okay, so now the screen is out. We're going to take the power switch out as well, and the next step that we're going to do is we're going to be trimming off a fair amount of material here on the case, and that's so that we can accommodate the new screen, because as you guys can see, it's definitely larger in size than the original. Okay, back in a second. All right, so the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to be trimming off all of this material here on the sides, and I've kind of marked it with a black permanent ink marker to make it easier for you guys to watch along. And we're going to basically use 2 tools to do this. One of them is a flush cutter, a pair of flush cutters to snip away the majority of the material. The next thing we're going to do is follow up with a scalpel and just smooth it all out and make sure that everything looks good. Before doing any of that though, what I need to do is remove this screen cover. The screen cover we're actually going to reuse because with this particular version of the Game Boy Pocket, this is a unique screen cover. The kit actually does come with a replacement screen cover, but it's not the right. It's a black overlay, and this is like a Game Boy. So we're going to keep that. So to remove it, I'm actually just going to kind of like use my shirt here, just put a little bit of pressure. This way I'm not touching the inside or the outside with my fingers. And now we're going to take this and set it off to the side here. And next thing we're going to do is come in with the flush cutters, and we're going to kind of just, you see them kind of going side to side with my fingers, my hand, and that allows you to kind of make a clean cut instead of snipping. All right, so one of the last steps for trimming is these screw posts. This part is a little bit tricky because you cannot get rid of the screw posts altogether. What you have to kind of do is just trim some of this excess material down. And you can use kind of a combination of the flush cutters and the scalpel to do that. But the screen is not going to fit otherwise, so you really have to come in and whittle this down until it's flush. But again, if you're too excessive, you're gonna ruin these screw posts and you may have difficulty reassembling your pocket. So you definitely don't wanna do that either. All right, so I finished trimming this. This one proved to be really problematic for me, but what I ended up doing was just trying to make it really circular. So you can see I snipped off all this little plastic here in the corner. I got rid of this little nub here. So once you make this screw post fully circular, then you're okay. This bottom one here was a little bit more tolerant, so I really just had to kind of get it flush, but I didn't have to go too crazy, just like a snip a little bit here. But now that's all put together, and the screen seems to fit without any kind of issue. All right, so now you can see that the screen falls right into place. And I just wanted to show you guys something about helping to get this aligned. So when the kit comes to you, it will come with a set of double-sided tape like this, which fits right here and locks the screen into place. But I kind of elected not to use that. The reason why is that once you use this, it's permanent. There is no taking the screen off without it getting damaged. And so if I make a mistake with aligning the screen, it's going to stay like that for good. So I really didn't want to do that. I wanted to be flexible and have the option of being able to completely disassemble this safely. So what I've learned is that when the screen is aligned like this, where it's perfectly flush with this piece of plastic for the power strip, and it's basically parallel with this little part, then the screen is going to be aligned perfectly. So all you got to do is make sure that your screen is aligned like this. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use some double-sided tape over here. And I'm going to use this to just lock down the screen. And now that that's done, I'm going to go ahead and take this protector off, and we're going to start putting everything together. Okay, so now the screen's in place. There's a little socket here for attaching the controller board. Just have to align them. There we go, like that. Now I'm going to take a piece of double-sided tape again, and I'm going to use that to adhere the controller board to the screen. And all you need to do is just place that down like so. And then with your tweezers, you can just lift off the second half and lock it in place. There we go. Now that's not going to move anywhere. Okay, so at this point we can go ahead and start rebuilding, and that's what I'm going to do now. Okay, and for this final step, it's basically the same as a regular pocket. You just bring this in, and use your tweezers to kind of get it into position, and you lock it down with these bails, and we're basically almost done. Okay, so I'll be back in a second with the final step. All right, so the final step that we have is to wire in the power and wire in the touch sensor so that we can change the palettes on this system. All right, so in order to do that, first thing we're gonna do is solder onto this pad here, which you can see that I've already done. And you also solder onto this leg of the power switch. So I'm just gonna go ahead and add some fresh solder here. And then the kit provides two very small wires that you can use for this, and they're pre-tinned. I recommend using them because they're, you know, the right size, and not too difficult to work with. So you just gotta hold them down and just touch. You can see that that's now connected. And I'm gonna go in and bring this guy into position here. And take care of that connection there. All right, so that's power. Now we'll move on to the touch sensor. So the touch sensor is this little piece of metal here and another piece of Kynar wire. And what you gotta do is just a piece of metal. So there's nothing actually special about this. You just gotta heat it up. It's gonna take a little time because it's actually, you know, big block, so it's a heat sink. There we go. Now you can see it melted onto there. And now we're gonna go ahead with this tiny little Kynar wire. We're gonna connect that right here. There we go. All set. Okay, so for this final step, we're going to solder this pad, and this is for the palette swap. Oops, I should have known better. Okay. Okay, those guys are connected. And then what I've done is I've cut a little piece of the double-sided tape. I'm not going to use it in both sides. What I'm going to do is just kind of position this right over here along the wall with the plastic. And I'm just going to tape it into position. And this is just structural. It's just to hold it down. I might actually need to trim this off camera, but the idea is basically just so that it stays adhered to the wall so we can easily just touch the sensor and then swap palettes. All right, so I'll be back in a second once everything is reassembled and I can show you all of the different features of this mod. Okay. All right, so the Game Boy has been reassembled and now you guys can take a look at it compared to a stock Game Boy Pocket, and honestly, it's not even close. Okay, so here's the stock Game Boy Pocket, and I'm in a very well-lit room. You know, this should be easy to see, but as you can see, I mean, the camera is really struggling to get it. You really have to get it at the right angle, and this is also true in real life. In contrast, here's the IPS screen Game Boy Pocket. You can see that it's extremely sharp and vibrant, and not only that, there's a lot of nice extra features that are built into this mod. One is that the contrast wheel functions now as a brightness, so you can dial it up or down, depending on your personal preferences. The other thing too is that touchpad allows me to change the palette. So if I touch over here, you can see now I'm changing the color. But you can also hold it down, and when you do that, there we go, I just did it right now. You can see, maybe this is showing up on camera, but you get like a grid pattern on the screen. So very similar to like what the real LCD display used to have. So, you know, this is such an outstanding mod because it gives you that original look. It fills up the, you know, entire screen, and you have all these color palettes at your disposal. So, like, this is the best option, hands down, for the Game Boy Pocket. All right, so if you guys like this, then please definitely, you know, give me a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. I have repair videos and mods every Friday. Yeah, thanks again for watching, and I'll see you guys again next time. Bye.